Lord. So welcome to today's talk on how to create certainty in your life. And this was inspired by a cruise that I went on with Peter Sage, which was all about quantum alignment. And the three topics we discussed were clarity, certainty, and freedom. And we spent about 2 days on each, 3 hours at a time. And it was illuminating. So I wanted to share this material. So the first question, I guess, is what do I mean by certainty? Because as you know, we can't really have certainty about external circumstances. No one knows what's going to happen from 1 minute to the next, let alone 1 year to the next. So as you know, nothing in life is certain in the external world. But the premise of a lot of this work is that inner world creates outer world, which it absolutely does. And so we're talking here today about inner certainty, which is a kind of knowingness. When we discussed this topic of certainty, there was he drew a triangle on the board. So, which I'll talk about in a minute. And the question is, can we develop certainty, not just to endure life, but to live an unlimited life? So I want to ask that question, not just to get by, because so much of life, it's just like life happens. But are we really creating the best life that we want? So this is about living an unlimited life. And yes, we can create that level of certainty. And it's always a work in progress, isn't it? I mean, I feel like I've made huge strides in the last year or even the last 8 years. And so, yes, we can, but it takes effort. It's not something that happens by default. Certainty doesn't just, you just wake up one morning and you're certain. So certainty is the most powerful state you can develop in creating the life you want. Because what happens is you create a vision, that's your clarity. This is where I'm going. So for example, M, you talked about, I'm calling you M so that people don't know your name, but they probably will know your name, about doing your PhD. So it's like knowing that you're going to get there. And with things that have a clear route, that's a little bit easier because we know you have to do this, and this. But if you're creating something that's less clear, like a vision for your life, it takes work. So you get the vision, you create the vision, you're very clear about it. So if I said, for example, I want to have the keys to my new house with my boyfriend, that's a very clear vision, isn't it? And then I need to create certainty around it, because it is the feeling, and this is very basic law of attraction stuff, it is the feeling that you get into that propels you towards that thing. It's that knowingness. So certainty is the most powerful state you can develop in creating the life you want. I'm just going to check that no one else is trying to get in. So there we are. So am I making sense so far? So sorry, I'm just trying to let someone in here. Oh, it's a distraction. Okay, so as I said, I've spoken on previous talks about having clarity, having vision, and this is how we set our sat nav or our GPS, like in the right direction. And this is not about obsessing about a goal. That's a misconception. If you obsess about a goal, you push it away. According to the law of balance and harmony, if you're trying too hard for something, the lack will appear in your life. So, but it is about firmly embedding the picture of what you want in your mind. So it might be being given the certificate that you've completed something, right? So we set our vision, we set our goal, we set the picture, and then the next step is to create certainty. And the certainty is, I will achieve this. I have everything available to me. And then it's getting into coherence. Again, something we've talked about a lot. So coherence is that mind-heart connection that we achieve through meditation, through prayer, through chanting in my case, through maybe journaling, visualizations. It's really this coherence of knowing that you're absolutely doing something that's aligned with your life purpose. So this is how we do it. It's, I will achieve this. I have everything available to me. It's all possible. Maybe don't know how, not getting obsessed about the how, but really getting into coherence so that you know that the next step you take. And when you get the hang of this, it's really exciting because you just start doing stuff that you hadn't previously thought about. When you have this level of coherence, you might wake up in the morning and go, that's the next step I need to take. So when you have that vision and you have that coherence, that's what starts to unfold. Peter Sage talks about this a lot. He talks about being in through me rather than by me. By me is the doing mode. I have to do this and do that and do this. Through me is like, letting it unfold. You still have to take the action of by me, but you're doing it in an aligned way. So you are in flow. So one of the things that needs to happen is we need to become bigger than our environment. Our desire, our vision, our clarity needs to become bigger than our environment because obstacles will naturally arise. It's part of life. So here's the thing. If you believe that there are multiple outcomes for any given experience in life, we know that a new future is always available. So if we submit to thinking that our environment determines our experience of life, we cannot win in creating the life we desire. So it's really about, sorry, there's someone else coming on the call now. So if we believe that it's the outside world that is going to create it, we need to ignore our sense data, ignore what you see in front of you in order to create that vision. I'm just going to mute iPhone 8. There we go. So welcome, iPhone 8. So where were we? Sorry, I've lost my train of thought, but it will come back soon. Where have I gone? Okay, so a new future is always available. There are multiple in the quantum field, in the realm of limitless possibilities, there are always multiple futures available. So if we, as I said before, if we submit to thinking our environment determines our experience, like we can't win in creating the life we desire because we'll always have an excuse for why we didn't create that, right? So it's a new future is always available. So this is why it's important to attract the future we want by making the choice to develop certainty. So it's about attracting the future by making the choice to develop certainty. Whatever your sense data is telling you about why you can or can't have that, it's developing certainty. This is happening. This is what's going to happen. And that's what enables the circumstances to move around in an almost magical way. So here's the thing. Whatever the situation is, I've got this. Whatever the situation is, I've got this. And when things don't go your way, to be able to say, life has a bigger plan. Life has a bigger plan for me. Because, we are going to encounter roadblocks, bends in the river. We don't know what's going to come our way. Most of this stuff that happens in your life that you didn't want to happen, a lot of it was unexpected, right? So it's life has a bigger plan. There is a reason for this. Whatever the situation is, I've got this. That's what certainty is. I've got this. Can you imagine showing up in every aspect of your life with that level of certainty? It's very powerful. So say, for example, you have a situation that you don't like. something is pushing your buttons. It's an external trigger. Somebody said something you don't like, and you are giving them the power over you. Or say something's happened in your life that you don't like, that involves another person. Someone's been rude to you or cheated on you or been dishonest with you. You know, that's going to push your buttons. That's an external trigger. Here's a really powerful metaphor for you. Take back the remote control. Don't give them the remote control to control your life. Take back the remote control. I'm in charge of my state. No one can press my remote control. I can handle this, and I've got this. Pretty cool, isn't it? Don't give them the remote control. This is my remote. You know, you're driving in the car, somebody cuts you up, like, you know, don't give them the okay, I've got this. This is the remote control. I'm in charge of my own life. That person's not in charge of my own life. That person's not going to change my state. So it was really on my way over to the States this time. I watched a movie on the plane called 12 Mighty Orphans. And I thought to bring this in because it was about a guy who went into an orphanage with these poor kids, kind of, you know, spindly and thin and malnourished and low confidence. And he created a football team. And this was the reason he was able to do this, is because he was unflinchingly devoted to his mission. He knew what his vision was, and he had certainty that it could be done. And that's why he was able to breathe belief into these young men, because he had certainty. So I thought that was really interesting that I happened to watch that just as I'm about to deliver this. So it's amazing what we can do from this point of view of certainty. So, you know, his goal was linked to a vision that was greater than himself. And this is another super important point. Okay. So when your vision is connected to something greater than yourself, when it's connected to a mission of service, it's even more powerful. So it's sometimes the smallness of our vision that holds us back. Now, I'm not saying that you can't have your own joy, your own desire in life, but if you want to create a truly fulfilled and happy life, you can't do it without growth and contribution. You can have a good enough life. If you want to create like the best life possible, growth and contribution. So he had a bigger vision because he had a vision greater than himself. So that was an ethnocentric or world-centric vision rather than egocentric vision. So having that as the fuel to propel you forward is really important. You know, in what I do, of course, I love doing it, and it's a skill I've developed, and I'm passionate about it. But when I see myself enabling other people's transformations, that's when it gets really exciting. Just to stand here and do this talk for you, sit here rather, it is not enough. I want to be the agent of your transformation. I want to be the person who helps you get your transformation. So let's get a little more practical here. Let's talk about the 3 aspects of developing certainty. And this is going to be a whistle-stop tour. The first thing I want to talk about is physiology. So, well, I'll just give you the 3. Physiology. Number 2 is self-talk and language. And number 3 is focus. And we've talked a little bit about focus. So this is a whistle-stop tour, and we're starting with physiology. And Tony Robbins calls this getting into state. So just as a gauge, I want you to check your posture right now and check about how that's making you feel. Okay. You know, are you kind of like this? Are you like this? You know, you're probably not. And I'm not looking at the screen right now, so I don't know what you're doing. But I want you to try now sitting up straighter. Then I want you to try putting your shoulders back, and I want you to try smiling. And I want to ask you if you feel differently. I mean, did you hear how a little laugh came out then when I did that? Because I felt a little silly just doing that, but it definitely lifted my energy. So our physiology has a direct relationship to our state. It's impossible to feel powerful or certain if you're slumped over with your head down. That is not a certain posture. That is not creating certainty. This is creating certainty. So I want to give you some components of physiology just to help you out. And if you're feeling brave, I might even get you to try this. So the first is posture. The second is breathing. What's the speed of your breathing? Now, you know, when you're excited, you're going, that's when you're really excited. But what about when you're wanting to compose yourself and be calm and in that state of certainty? You're going to be breathing deeper, aren't you? Then there's your stance. You know, how are you standing? Of course, there's sitting up or standing. So if I pick up the computer and I stand up, what is my stance as a certain posture? Am I standing there like this, leaning over, or am I standing there with certainty? Someone else is asked to come in. Just give me 1 second. Susan's just asked to come in. Hey, Lily. So, you know, what's your stance? And then where's your gaze? What are you looking at? Are you looking down, which is pensive, really, isn't it? Are you looking into the distance? Are you like looking like, yeah, Lily, you'll get this because you know what it's like to stand on a stage and be that person that everyone wants to look at. So, and where are your hands? What are your hands doing? So this is an exercise that you can do, because you don't, I'm not saying you have to stand in a certain posture all the time, or that you have to have your hands a certain way. But when you find that, you can adopt that posture before you go into a situation where you want certainty. So when I did the exercise, some really interesting things came up. I did it in partner work with another person. And the words that came up for me, which I'll talk about later, one of them was leadership. I actually, when I was looking out, it was like I was on a boat at the time and I could see the ocean parting for me. You know, it was like, yes, it was like that kind of certainty. So I do want to try an exercise with you, and it will involve standing up, and you can turn your camera off if you prefer. Obviously, if you're in a place where you can participate, I want you to imagine what you would look and feel like. But before we do that, I want you to close your eyes for a few minutes and let's do some breathing together. So I want you to just breathe into your heart space. I don't want you to try and do anything with your breath. I don't want you to do box breathing. I don't want you to do deep breathing. I just want you to breathe into your heart space and become aware of your breath going in and out. Just become conscious of your breathing, breathing into your heart space. And then I want you to imagine a time when you felt certain, a time when you knew without question you were going to achieve something, you were going to win something, you were connecting with someone, whatever it is for you, and bring a picture to mind. It doesn't have to be anything grand. It might be going to help a friend, like, yes, I'm going to go help this friend. It might be standing and doing a performance. It might be winning a tennis match. It might even be something like baking a cake. I know this cake is going to come out great. I don't know what it is for you. Just bring into your mind a memory of that feeling of certainty. I'm going to give you a minute or so to do that. Camera over here. So now what I want you to do is I want you to open your eyes and stand up. Just make sure you can still see me. I'm moving around a lot today. So, because I'm certain it's going to help you. So open your eyes and stand up. And I want you to imagine a circle on the ground in front of you. And then I want you to conjure that experience and step into that circle as if you have certainty. Bring out the feeling of certainty. Think about how you're standing. Where are your hands? Check your breathing. Is it fast or slow? Where is your gaze? Mine would be out, straight out. Yeah. What is your stance? Mine is legs apart for, just on the ground, feet firmly planted. Then here's a really great thing. What are the words you're saying to this? Saying to yourself, rather. I've got this. I'm on it. I'm powerful. I'm a leader. My heart leads others. What's your facial expression like? Is it like, ah, or is it like, yes, I've got this? What is it? How does it feel? What are you focusing on? What images are coming on into your mind as you do that? That feeling of certainty. How does it feel? What are you focusing on? Then I want you to step back out of the circle and I want you to stop and write it down. Okay, so stop and write it down. Step out of the circle, sit down, write it down. Write down any thoughts that come into your head. Sorry, I've just pulled the plug out. I'm certain I've pulled the plug out. There we go. I love that you all look so studious. I don't know if anybody wants to be bold and share at this point what I will carry on, but I'm just quick share of what it felt like, if anything. I know there will have been obstacles for some of you. That's normal. Anyone want to share? Lily? Lily Gorgeous?
I don't know if I'm in the right place. I've literally arrived from work 10 minutes ago, driving from Oxford. So I'm feeling a bit sort of tumble dryish, but I had, I just sort of visualize the feeling of just stepping onto stage, if I need to kind of gather my energy together. Yeah, that's as far as it went, to be honest.
Great. Okay.
Just like that.
So that's
just
fine. And
yeah.
you missed it, to be fair, you missed the beginning of the presentation, which if you get time, go back and rewatch, because it's also important to understand why we're doing this and what the bigger picture is. So thank you for sharing that. That's brilliant. Does anyone else want to say anything? No pressure, just if you want to.
I can share. So I felt really fearless, calm, and honored.
And honored, did you say?
Uh-huh.
By externally or by yourself?
By myself.
That's great. Good. Okay. So look, I want to give you a powerful metaphor here. And this is going to sound like a bit of a digression, but it's not. So I want you to imagine your potential future as a series of doors in front of you. And behind each of those doors is a potential reality. Okay, there's a potential reality behind each door, and you need to choose one door. When you put your hand on the handle, the probability of the outcome being positive or negative is to do with the state you are in when you put your hand on the door handle. Does that make sense?
Say it again, sorry.
I'm going to say it again.
Mm-hmm.
You have a series of doors, potential future, door number 1, door number 2, door number 3. And behind each of those doors is a potential reality, a potential future. And you need to choose a door. You don't know which one to choose, but you need to choose one. When you put your hand on the handle, you choose the door. When you put your hand on the handle, the outcome could be positive or negative, but the way that you open the door, the energetic state you're in, the state of certainty that you're in when you open the door has an influence on the outcome. Okay, so it's the energetic relationship to the door handle. It's knowing that whether it's the right choice or not, you're good, you're okay, you're going to be fine. So I'm going to go through that one more time because I think it's really important. In life, we have infinite potential possibilities of what can occur. But we take action in life, right? We make decisions, minute, decision. Door number 1, door number 2, door number 3, door number 4. It's more important how you open the door than it is which door you choose. Because if you're certain that whichever way you go, it's going to take you to the outcome that you need, that we live in a friendly universe, then that's going to influence the outcome, because that door is going to just lead to 5 infinite other number of doors, and each door is going to lead to infinite more doors and more doors and more doors. So why not step into something with courage, conviction, certainty? That's the point. So I'll give you an example. You get offered a choice of 2 jobs. There are 2 doors in front of you, and you have to open the door by turning the handle. What do you think the difference will be if you grab the handle with certainty? You make a choice. Okay, oh, I'm not sure if this is, I'm going to do this anyway, or I'm going to do this. I'm choosing this one. I'm going for it. If it's the wrong choice, you'll know soon enough, and then other possibilities will open up. But the probability of a successful outcome is not to do with what's on the other side. It's to do with the way you open the door. We think it's externally led, but it's not. This is so key. This is like how life works, because otherwise you're just into some weird perfectionist paradigm that everything has to go exactly the way you want it, which it doesn't. It goes exactly the way it needs to go for your benefit. And that is an empowering paradigm to hold. Any other paradigm to hold is slightly defeating. And you can challenge me on this later, but hear me out. It's the same with a relationship. Isn't the decision to make that relationship work going to give you the most influence over the relationship? If you go into a relationship looking for every little fault in the person, what do you think the chances are of success? Now, I'm not saying you should go out and deliberately choose the wrong, any old relationship. That's dumb. But if you go into a relationship and you're confident, whatever happens in this relationship, I'm good. I'm going to go for this. I'm going to do my best to make it work. And if when I open that door, it doesn't turn out to be the right door, other doors are going to open up in front of me. So I'm going to give it my best shot from a place of confidence and certainty. Not like, oh, does he like me? Doesn't he like me? That kind of thing. I'm good. I'm good. I'm okay. So if you choose the wrong door, if you go through that door and you've chosen the wrong door, you're going to be faced with multiple doors again. So a new future is always available. This is the point. So the question is, do you want to go through the door in like cowering, or with a state of certainty, which is more likely to attract the best outcome, come what may? So I encourage you to practice this and make it a habit. So one of Peter Sage's great sayings is, success is not an act, it needs to become a habit. Success is a habit. You decide, and the way that you decide is by cultivating certainty. It's the certainty which is going to give you the edge. How would it feel to know that something better is always coming? To have certainty that life is working for you, not against you. And this is, again, you sometimes might need to ignore your sense data and look for the meaning behind things, and look for the growth opportunities, and look for the way to turn it around. So look, I'm aware I've given you a surface level awareness around this, and that certainty is a muscle. And if you want this to work at an even deeper level and more, and more importantly, if you want to have some form of accountability around this, then let's continue the conversation. I think it would be a shame for you to leave this conversation and forget all about it. So as Sonia knows, I do have a peer group where we study this to a much, much deeper level. It's a game changer. Being surrounded by people who are exploring these kinds of topics consistently will propel you forward. I can tell you, you are the sum of the people you spend your time with. So choose wisely. And that's something that I've really had to drill down into over the past year. Well, really, I should have been doing it for longer, but I'm really glad I have. So I hope you've enjoyed that. Let's move on to questions, comments, observations, shares, anything anyone wants to ask. I hope you found that helpful. Tired Lily. Tumble-dried Lily. Susan, nice to see you. You'll be able to catch up on this on YouTube. So, ooh, nice. That's a nice picture. How are you?
Yeah, sorry I was late. I was out and trying to get on back. I missed part of it, yeah.
Yeah, don't worry.
So it's YouTube.
Yeah, I have a YouTube channel. Have you?
Oh.
Has that not been shared with you?
No, is that Corey?
Corey Josias. Yeah, I'll
Oh.
share it with you in the chat now. I always put these up on YouTube afterwards because a lot of people miss them. So did anyone have anything they want to share, ask, even disagree with? I love it when people challenge me, so I don't have a problem with that. Or you can just tell me how wonderful I am. I'm always open to that as well. I'm certainly open to that.
I like the idea of these multiple doors, whichever decision you make. So, you know, it's like the universe is for you, you know, what you're saying, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, of course, if you just have this one phrase, a new future is always available, because it is, but so much depends on where we position our energy. You know, if you let physical matter reality and your sense data rule you, you've lost. You have lost. You know, if you believe, if you choose to believe that we live in a friendly universe, and you choose to believe that a new future is always available.
So we're talking about a conscious universe then.
What do you mean by that?
Well,
oh, I see what you mean. Yeah.
You know what I mean? That the universe is conscious in a sense, like a greater
Like
mind,
like God,
not
right?
Not a God, or whatever you want to call it, designer, creator. There's the sentience of the universe. That's what I mean, really.
Yes, that's a great way of putting it. The sentience of the universe.
Yeah.
So we, in this way of talking about things, the assumption is, the foundation is that, yes, we are all part of something greater, which is consciousness itself, and that life happens for us, and that it's not random. If you think life is random, then you're probably in the wrong place. You know, that things are happening, I'm going to say, for a reason.
Yeah.
For the greater growth. I'm not even going to call it good, for the greater growth, which is the greater good, in my opinion. But that's a whole nother can of worms to open up the good bad thing. You know, what we're doing, what we're engaged in, I believe, is, well, really, for me, it's about survival, and it's about growth. And it's really, the question is, why are you here? What are you here for? What's your purpose? What's the reason for being here? You know, is it just to be passively let life happen? Or is it to really have a great time?
Mhm.
You know, and really have a great time means growth and contribution. It just does. You can't have the highest level of joy in life without growth and contribution. It is impossible, in my view. I'm happy for someone to persuade me otherwise.
I just want to comment that this energetic state that you were talking about, or level of courage and conviction,
See,
if we have this, then basically, but this is a level of development basically that is not easy to be reached. So what I'm trying to say based on my experience is really that it has so many layers, and it is a process of knowing ourselves, and it is really that one would need to go through. To me, I was meditating. I used to go to breathing sessions. I whatever was on personal growth lessons, but I never had the process, and this is not because I am EMF. I never had the process that leads you throughout discovering of my own layers, or everyone's layers that needs to be discovered in order to make myself aware and help me aware actually where I am when it comes to this whatever energetic state, or my personal awareness, etc. So what I really want to say, this is hard work.
well, if you say it's hard work, then it is. You know, and this is the thing. As soon as you said it's not easy, my language alert went off, because I'm not going to disagree with you. I'm not going to tell you it's easy, but to say it's not easy
Okay.
is, you know, or to say it's hard,
Okay.
it just isn't helping you.
Yeah.
What about if you said learning to become this is fun? How would that feel if you said that? It's fun learning to become certain. It's fun learning to become confident.
Mhm.
It's fun.
Okay,
doing EMF
I
with
can take this. Yes, I
Yeah,
can take this.
your face looks different already.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
know what
Yeah.
I mean? It's fun.
I can
feeling
take it.
this much better
Mhm.
today than I was yesterday. This much better. This much stronger.
Yes.
Just this much more confident. That's fun.
Yes, this would facilitate. I mean, this the wording would facilitate, and the way how we talk to ourselves, for sure.
Yeah. So physiology is 1/3 of it. Language is the other one, and focus. So what you focus on, are you focusing on how hard it is, or are you focusing on where you want to go?
Yeah.
I'm becoming more certain. I'm becoming more confident.
Mm-hmm.
Lily's becoming more tired. She's yawning.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, it's like it's where you're going to focus and what's the language you're going to use.
Mm-hmm.
Language is, when I started on this journey about 8 years ago, actually, when Emily and I were working together, it was really because I was in the network marketing business, and that started me on this journey of personal development. I'm not doing that anymore, but it led me on an incredible journey. And one of the first things my mentor said to me was language. Said, just even if you think it's true, stop saying it. Even if you think it's true, if it's not empowering, just stop saying it. Or if you really have to and you're having a bad day, just say, I'm having a bad day. Then you're not generalizing it. You're shortening the impact. Not saying, oh, my life is shit. Saying I'm having a bad day. Different, isn't it?
Yes, it is different. but really what I meant is, but probably I didn't articulate this in a way I want to be understood, is that basically it requires work on ourselves,
It requires commitment. Absolutely.
commitment. Oh yes,
And
absolutely.
it requires work on ourselves. Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. Anybody else want to share or ask a question? We've got about 10 minutes left.
Can I just say, just a distinction from from before, I am very tired. Sorry, I'm yawning away in your face here. I've just been working solidly for 2 days and just drove back from Oxford. So I'm just, decompressing. What I'm getting is this choosing of your state. It's like a choice to, it's like, this is my state. I choose this, and whatever life throws at me, I am committed to this state of beingness. And for me, it's this, it's what I call being in my belly.
Okay.
It's like if I can occupy my belly, if I can be like present in my own, and to me, being in my belly is like having certainty. It's like having, it's like knowing what I want, where I want to go. It's not sort of airy fairy. It's very sort of present, connected, and what's another word? But it's just that thing of choosing the state that you want to be in.
The other word for it is coherence, which we talked about at the beginning of the call. It's the head-heart coherence,
right.
Through meditation, and that's a beautiful expression. Being in my belly.
Yeah.
That's just being like fully there. People probably experience it in different ways, but that's great. And I'm in a sense in this call. Yes, of course we choose our state, but I'm hoping that you've gotten some tools out of this. The main one being physiology, and then you also have language in the way that I adjusted Sonia's language, although I understand that isn't what you meant, Sonia. And your focus. Where is your focus? Who is the person you are? Which door handle are you? How are you putting your hand on the door handle? I'm focused. I'm going to walk through this door and I'm going to nail it. So that's great. Thank you, Lily. Thank you both. Anyone else? Sue or Emily, do you have anything you want to add?
Not really. I mean, it's been very interesting, really interesting. I liked what you said about taking the control back.
The remote control.
Yeah, because that's something that I've started to do recently. And it's been challenging for me, but that really resonated.
Yeah. I know that you're someone who's very nice.
Yes.
And that can be problematic.
It has been problematic for me. I've kind of really had to face my over agreeability over the last year, and to stand up for myself, which I found really, really challenging.
Yep. Thank you for sharing that. So how do you think getting into a state of certainty physiologically would help you with that?
Yes. I think it would. Yeah. I mean,
before you have the conversation, embodying that feeling.
Yes.
Embodying.
Yes.
Not with a begging bowl.
Yeah, exactly. Feeling more powerful,
Yeah. I think it's really interesting. One of the things that one of the talks I haven't done yet is archetypes, which is really, really, really cool. And my archetype is warrior, so it's become quite easy. The more I become that is to be very like, this is how it's going, and this is what I want, but I sense that that's not your primary archetype, and so you're more like what we would call the lover archetype. And that's beautiful. They're all beautiful. There's not one archetype that's more beautiful than another, but it's just that we need the balance is really important. is knowing where we are, where there's a, I want to say an absence, but I think it's more that where there's an area that we could draw on more, because we all have them all. It's just how much, what our prevalent archetype is. So, Susan, do you want to say anything before we go? Thank you, Emily, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, I try and put some certainty. For example, when I always make an effort to go Hong Kong to see my family, and my grandma at the time was obviously in her 90s. I know that what time I spend with her whenever I fly over is precious. And I keep saying, to myself, I know there's no certainty that she'll be here next year, and I'm always like thinking about it. And then I think in 2018 I flew over, and I was in tears. And then in 2019 I obviously left, I was staying on holiday with my grandma, and I was like, actually, don't worry, because I'm only a 12 hours flight away from you, and I'll be back next year. That's all right. So I didn't hug her on the and then there was COVID, and obviously she's gone now, and it's like, well, there is so. But I tried to obviously use that to sort of like, I didn't want to leave in floods of tears, so I had to find a way to try and calm myself. But I did think there was some certainty that I never obviously predicted COVID, but I thought there'll be some certainty that there'll be no problems for me to be able to fly back. And yeah, and then now my health has not been so well health-wise, so I've not been able to fly back anyway. But yeah, I don't know about my health, how I can find any sort of, I guess there isn't going to be certainty I'll get better, because this has been ongoing since January, and I don't feel any too much better than from January. But I guess it's hope, maybe not certainty.
Thank you so much for sharing that, because I didn't know that about you, and it's courageous to share that. So can you imagine a potential different reality from where you are now? Because I would say that's one potential starting point, is to begin to, I think we should hop on a call sometime, actually, Susan. I think that would be good. I think it's going to be better than trying to unpack that here. I would just say that this could be really powerful for this whole idea of certainty could be really powerful for you, of getting into that state of certainty that this will change for the better, that it will change for the better. Health is an interesting area.
Yeah, it's
a lot of conditioning that goes on about what it means to be healthy and how health happens. And, there's tons and tons of stuff on how we can change our health. I encourage you to look up Joe Dispenza. He's really a master with that, around resolving health problems. Joe Dispenza, Becoming Supernatural is the name of the book. But let's organize to have a chat sometime. Would you be up for that?
Yeah, that'd be lovely. Thank you so much.
Great. Let's do that. So beautifuls. I hope you'll come next week. I loved seeing you. And Susan and Sanya, thank you for being regulars. And Lily, I know that you're always busy whizzing and flying and twirling and whirling around the place. And Emily, thank you for being new. And it's lovely to see you. It's been years, actually. So I hope you enjoyed it enough to hop on again next week. Yes. I'll probably be doing it from my car next week, because I'm going to be traveling around the place. I should have decided the topic, but I haven't. I think I'm going to do archetypes next week. I'm just going to go out on a limb and say I'm going to do archetypes next week, because that's come up in this call. And again, it's never a deep dive on these calls. It's only, really half an hour to an hour. So it's it's just an opener, really. Go to bed.
Oh, sorry, Corey. Thank you so much. I really appreciated that.
If I were a
that-
dentist, I would really, really love seeing the inside of your mouth. I'm glad you appreciated it. Thank you. Thank you for
yeah, no, I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed that. Thank you.
good. Come back.
Yeah, when I'm around, I definitely will tune in. Yes.
Good. All right. Thank you, everyone. Lots of love.
Sorry.
Bye.
Thanks,
Night,
Corey.
night.
Bye.
Night, night.
Um,
Night. Bye.